The early morning sun bathed Onitsha in soft gold, casting long shadows over the busy streets. Stalls were being set up, traders shouted greetings across the road, and the hum of life was beginning again, as it always did. But for Chuka Ease, the day felt heavier than any he had known before. Chuka sat outside a small kiosk on Upper Awaka Road, staring at the empty shelves that once proudly displayed goods he sold. A year ago, he had been a thriving trader, one of the best in his line. He sold mobile accessories, chargers, earpieces, power banks, anything that kept people connected. He had dreams bigger than Onitsha itself, expanding into electronics, opening multiple outlets, even employing others. But dreams, he had learned, could be fragile things. A fire, started by a faulty generator 2 shops down, had ripped through his section of the market one terrible night. In a few cruel hours, everything he had built, the shop, the goods, the savings tucked into a metal box under the counter, had turned to ash. Insurance. Chuka shook his head bitterly at the thought. People like him didn't bother with such things. By morning, he stood among blackened ruins, with soot on his hands and emptiness in his heart. He tried to rebuild. He borrowed a little money from friends, took loans from people he barely knew. But the pressure mounted. Debts demanded payment before profits could breathe. No one was patient. No one was kind. Within months, he had sold his motorcycle, his only other source of income, just to cover a fraction of what he owed. He spent his days hiding from creditors and his nights wondering how a man could vanish from a city he had lived in all his life. Now, sitting by the kiosk that wasn't even his anymore, just a borrowed seat from a friend, Chuka asked himself the same question every morning. How do you begin again when everything you believed in is gone? The answer came, unexpectedly, from an old woman selling akpa by the roadside. Her name was Mama Ifananya. She had been selling the steamed bambara nut snack for as long as anyone could remember. Every morning, she would roll her wheelbarrow down to her usual spot, set up her pots and leaves, and begin hawking her delicious wares with a smile that had not faded with age. One morning, after offering Chuka a free wrap of akpa he could not afford, she sat beside him. "My son," she said, "you know I was not always an akpa seller." Chuka looked at her, surprised. She chuckled. "Many years ago, I had a provision store bigger than anything you've seen in Os Market. People knew me. My children went to the best schools. But when my husband died, suddenly, everything collapsed. Friends turned away. Family looked the other way. I cried until there were no more tears. I thought my story had ended." She patted his hand. "But one morning, like this one, I realized, breathing is proof that God has not finished with me yet. If I have life, I have a chance." I took the little I had, bought a bag of bambara nuts, and started cooking akpa. It was small, but it was something. And from that something, God blessed me again. Chuka listened, the warmth of the akpa in his hand matching the warmth slowly rising in his chest. "You see, my son," she finished, smiling at him. "Courage is not about holding on to what is lost. Courage is standing up when you have nothing left, and choosing to start again." That night, Chuka could not sleep. Mama Ifananya's words circled in his mind like fireflies. If you have life, you have a chance. The next morning, before the sun even rose, Chuka found himself walking the long road to Bridgehead Market. With a little money he had, coins he had been saving for someday, he bought a second-hand wheelbarrow. It was old, rusted in places, but it rolled. It would do. He started hauling goods for traders, sacks of rice, cartons of noodles, crates of tomatoes. It was grueling work. His hands blistered. His legs ached. His pride, once so large, had to be swallowed every time he bowed and said, "Madam, Oga, make I help you carry him." But every day, he earned a little, sometimes just enough for one meal, sometimes enough to tuck a few naira into a tin under his mattress. Weeks passed, then months. By Christmas, Chuka had saved enough to buy a small table and a plastic canopy. Under the canopy, he sold sachet water, biscuits, and chewing gum, items he could afford. When rains came, washing the streets in rivers of mud, Chuka stayed. When the sun baked the ground until it cracked, Chuka stayed. Slowly, customers began to recognize the tall young man with the easy smile and hard-working spirit. They told others. His little stand grew into a recognizable spot. By the next year, he had expanded into selling mobile chargers again, just a few stacked neatly beside the biscuits. And he did not take it for granted. Each charger he sold felt like a step forward, a whisper from the heavens. You are not finished yet. 2 years after he sat hopelessly outside that burnout kiosk, Chuka opened his own small shop near Main Market. It wasn't grand, not yet, but it was his. A bright yellow banner bore the name he had spent nights dreaming of. Courage Connects, accessories, and more. One afternoon, as he arranged a fresh set of phone cases on his new shelves, a customer arrived, an older woman rolling her wheelbarrow. It was Mama Ifananya. Tears filled Chuka's eyes as he rushed out to meet her. He took her hand with both of his and pressed a wad of cash into it. More money than he had ever spent on anyone. Mama, he said, voice trembling, this is for you. Thank you for showing me how to begin again. Mama Ifananya just smiled, tears glistening in her wise old eyes. Onitsha buzzed and roared around them, full of people buying, selling, shouting, moving, all chasing dreams, rebuilding broken ones, or finding the courage to begin again. And Chuka E stood there in the middle of it all, a living reminder that no matter how low life pushed you, as long as there is breath in your lungs, there is hope. Sometimes courage isn't about fighting the biggest battles. Sometimes courage is simply waking up, stepping out, and daring to believe in small beginnings, again and again. Because starting over isn't weakness. Starting over is strength.